In this next exercise, we're going to treat one letter form as a text object. And you're going to apply your animation principles that we covered in Module 1 to this letter form. Let's take a look. For this demonstration, we're going to be exploring individual letter forms and how they can be transformed. Let's start by making a new composition. I'm going to go to Composition, New Composition. Call this Elastic Letters. And I'll make it another square here, just to, and just want 7 seconds on my composition length here. My frames per second, let's go to 30. All right. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is put a background in. Now, an easy Mac key command is Command Y, or you can go to Layer, New, and Solid. And let's make this a nice bright background. Let's try yellow this time. You can make it any color you want. This is totally up to you at this point. And then I'm going to draw my letter form. I'm going to use a thick typeface, so a thicker stroke, because I'm going to create an object out of this. So I'm going to hit my type key. I'm just going to type an S on there, which looks pretty good here. And then I'm going to select it, and let's make it 700. And in my Align menu, put this into the center. And then I may make it my character menu. Pop that up. Oh, it's up there. All right, and I'm going to make this, say, go all the way black. So I have a lot of contrast. So I made my letter form black. I've made it a thick stroke. And then I got my yellow background. So all of that together creates this contrast. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this S and I'm going to control click on it or right click on it. And I'm going to go to Create and create shapes from text. All right, so right click, create, and create shapes from text. Now this will give you a path line on that. So if you look in here, we can't really do much with it as is. It's a locked shape. So this way, control click, create shapes from text. Now I get an outline on this thing, right? So I get another layer that has this as just a shape. So I go into S, I have a path line I can alter, which is what I want. I still have the text here, although the visibility is turned off. So I'm going to go into this path and press my key command, and I'm going to go into this path and press the stopwatch to start a set of keyframes. Now, over the course of this animation, I'm going to stretch this thing out, make it elastic, right? So if I look at this and I click on it, you can see I've got points here, right? So let's zoom in a little bit. And by default, it selects all of them, right? But if I click off, if I just click a few, hold down Shift and select a few of these, then I can actually stretch out just portions of it. So you can see I can alter this thing based on just a selection, right? Now, obviously I want to select a bit more than that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this to the center. See, it's 3 seconds. I'm going to make a new keyframe. So I'm going to take this and pull it up. So by selecting one, I can kind of do this, right? And then I'm going to have to alter, obviously, this looks terrible, so I'm going to have to take this one, just kind of massage these points in as well. Oops. So let's get in there. So I don't want to deform this thing. What I do want to do is stretch it, right? So that can kind of, so I can use the Bezier handles on each one. So it's going to look a little different. So I think I'm going to just keep this one. Maybe adjust the curves a little bit so that we're not just so that the shape, general shape of this thing is maintained. And we're not deforming it too much, so it still looks like an S, right? So it's going to depend on whatever typeface you chose, right? I'll just zoom out here. Okay. Maybe I'll select the bottom part too and move these out. Okay. Looks pretty good. Oh. Keep doing that. Let's select it. And then just take the top ones. Let's get this going here. That looks pretty good. Here's a couple of tips. To select the whole object, you click on it with your arrow tool, selection tool. To get the path, you select the keyframe, right? And then to select certain portions of it, you can just box select to get that. Now I want to go in here, if I can see this little edge here, it looks a little rigid there, so let's just nuance this. It's going to depend on whatever typeface, and you can see this little bump here too. So let's just alter those points individually. So selecting those and massaging that. And to select an individual point, I shift select. No need to go crazy here, but here's what I've got. Let's click off so I can just see my letter. Looks pretty good. Maybe just a tiny bit more. Because it's only one little movement, I think I want to be pretty precise with this. So let's just bring that in a little bit. So I don't deform the cross as much, right? This portion, right, the curve of the S is what makes it still look like an S. If that starts to deform, then we start to get just an object that doesn't look like the letter form as is. We want to have this kind of stretch out and kind of come back to its original position, right? So I've got this little stretch happening here, which is nice, right? And then I'm going to bring it back to the start by copying this keyframe, Command C on a Mac, and Command V at 6 seconds. Now I get a little second pause here. Now I'm going to adjust the timing of this, but that's the general movement, right? And by first plotting out your movement slowly, you can really see all the changes as they take place. So I'm going to move those in. So let's just zoom out here. And I'm going to hold down Option or Alt on a Windows, I believe. And if you just shrink these in, everything can take place at 2 seconds. Right? And maybe at 3, I'll repeat it. So I'll copy and paste. Move those just at 3 exactly. Okay, so now I get, that's a little better, right? All right, wonderful. Now, the next thing to do here is to take these keyframes, right? And I'm going to make them easy ease. So now there's a little bit of ramp in, ramp out. I'm going to go to my graph editor here and click on the path line and select fit all graphs to view down here in the bottom. So now you can see I've got my little path animation. So in these, right, I can always take these and by extending that peak, right, we get these little stretching out, so we get a slow in and a faster movement, and then a slow in and a faster movement. Just pushing those so that they now it has a little more life. You can see that, right? Kind of a slow in, slow out, right? Just a simple adjustment in the graph editor. And that's our animation. So what you've done here is you've taken a letter form, made it a shape by making outlines of it, and then you've altered that path. And you've created this little repeat structure by repeating the keyframes. But ultimately what I want you to do is realize that each letter form itself can become an object to be animated. All right, to export this, I'm going to go up to File, Export, Add to Media Encoder Queue.